Hello, and welcome to the What's Up London show. I'm your host, Jennifer Slay. I would like to recognize and acknowledge the ancestors that came before me, allowing me to be here today. I also acknowledge that I am currently sitting on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabeg, Haudenosaunee, the Napawak, and Arawandran peoples. I am grateful to be able to call these lands home. Well, welcome back to a new season of the What's Up London show. I am very excited for this season because we've got some guests who are very creative and innovative in the various events that they host and businesses that they run in and around our community. Our first guest today is Sarah May Chitty, Curriculum and Pedagogy Advisor, Office of Indigenous Initiatives, Western University, and she'll be talking to us about a series of education and outreach programming that they have developed around the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. Welcome, Sarah.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So let's talk about the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. Can you explain to viewers what that is?
So this will be the second, last year was the inaugural day. So it actually comes from Orange Shirt Day, which was a grassroots Indigenous-led movement, I guess, essentially led by Phyllis Webstad out on the West Coast. She is a residential school survivor, and she wanted to make sure that everybody remembered and knew what happened to her and many other children that went to what were called Indian residential schools. And I would really hope people know about those by now, but if you do not, I implore that you look into them, because the legacy of them is exactly what National Day for Truth and Reconciliation is about. It's about talking about the legacy and impact of these schools that were essentially created to assimilate Indigenous children into Canadian society. And they happened over a course of over 100 years. The earliest ones ran in the late 1800s, and the last one closed in 1996.
Well, that's not that long ago.
No. Certainly not.
Yeah. And so at LOSA has approached you at Western, right, to do some programming with regards to education of the community?
Yeah, and we were so glad they reached out because for our office, we actually are newly formed as of May of 2020 in response to the Truth and Reconciliation calls to action in education at Western, and in response to our Indigenous strategic plan. And part of our mandate is to work with community and to strengthen community relationships. So when at LOSA reached out, we were really excited because we want to make sure that we are amplifying community organizations' messages and also making sure that they're getting the support, because at LOSA as an organization, they're the Family Healing Services. A lot of their services, they are working with individuals that are also directly affected by the impacts of residential schools. Yeah.
And LOSA does a lot.
They do so much.
They do so much.
Yeah, they're an integral part of our community.
Wonderful. Yeah. So explain a little bit about the programs that you're going to be offering.
Yeah, so they actually had received a grant from Heritage London and Downtown London to increase the awareness around why National Day for Truth and Reconciliation exists. And also when we came together, we kind of thought about what we wanted the conversation around it to be, because it's obviously very traumatic legacy, and something that our communities are still impacted by, but we also have we want to celebrate our resiliency and that we're still here and honor survivors and those who didn't make it home. So the series itself kind of explores the impacts of residential schools in different ways, but also how Indigenous peoples are picking up what we were forced to leave behind, and to lift each other up and talk about that. So the one I'm thinking of in particular is the Language Revitalization Panel on September 26th. This is such a unique and amazing thing. Everyone should come out and check out, because we are getting first language speakers of Ojibwe, Lenape, and Oneida. So those are the three local community languages. And so we're having first language speakers, but also second language learners. So those who have picked this up, who are going to talk about the role of language in education, what it meant to go to a residential school and the impact on language, and also the struggles of what it is to learn a language that there's a lot of trauma around speaking it because many people were punished in the residential schools for speaking it or weren't allowed to speak. So that's one such interest or such incident or thing. Yeah. And then on the 20th, we wanted to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. So a healing session with Jane Burning, but truth and reconciliation, everyone is impacted by this there's bystander trauma too, of understanding how people have been complicit in colonialism residential schools. So that session, we're really focusing on Indigenous health and well-being there, but Jane is a really amazing healer and speaker, so that'll be really awesome for people to come check out as well.
And so these are going to be in-person events?
Yes. So we would like to record some of them, depends on capacity, but also the nature of some of the events too, like the healing one. You wouldn't record that because you want to give people that space to be able to express themselves.
Yeah. Where are the events going to be held?
So at LOSA had this great idea of having it in different colonial and Indigenous spaces across the city. So we had to change that a little bit just due to logistics and capacity. We have a new learning space at Western that is almost done, but it's been delayed. So we really wanted to have our final reconciliation panel at the learning space, but unfortunately the space just won't be ready by then, so we're still going to have it at Western. So the first event is at Huron, the middle two, or one's at LOSA, one is at the Museum of Archaeology, the language panel, and then the reconciliation event will be at Western.
Wonderful. And then September 30th, tell us what's happening then.
So if you're in the community, come down to the Green in Wortley Village. LOSA has organized with various community partners. I don't want to shout them all out in case I have them wrong, but I believe SOHAC is one of them. Our Office of Indigenous Initiatives will be down there. They're going to have a language tent. They're going to have different QR codes set up for people to learn about the significance of the day, some history. There's also going to be singing and dancing, of course, because we're honoring and celebrating our relatives. So.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for being here, and thank you for doing what you do. It sounds amazing.
Thanks for having me, and don't forget to get your orange shirts. This is a Western one, but at LOSA has their Relighting the Fire of Hope campaign. So,
awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Your happy place. Easy 1013, the perfect music mix.
Smoke alarms expire after 10 years. Check the date and test your smoke alarm today.
A properly fitting life jacket or personal flotation device will keep the wearer afloat. Adult flotation devices are fitted by chest size. When fastened properly and lifted, the PFD should not be able to be pulled up past the wearer's nose and ears. With inflatable PFDs, it is a one-size-fits-most. When worn, it is best to leave the straps a little loose, so there's some room if the jacket needs to be inflated.
Hi everyone, my name's Ranger M. I love to knowledge share, and that's just what I'm going to do with you. So come on, let's go learn with Ranger M.
Welcome back. It has been a year since the tragic attack against our London family, the Afzals, which has greatly impacted so many communities near and far. To commemorate this first anniversary, the London and Middlesex Local Immigration Partnership has created a campaign called I Am London 2022 in an effort to amplify the stories of Muslim members in our community. Let's meet Carly MacArthur and hear more. Hi, Carly.
Hi, thanks so much for having me today.
No problem. Can you tell us a little bit about what your organization does?
Sure, so I am the communication officer with the London and Middlesex Local Immigration Partnership. And we are funded by IRCC, and we're one of many LIPs, they call us, that are funded across the country. And we're funded by IRCC to work in our communities directly because we know the needs of our specific cities. So what we do is we're a collaborative community initiative that works to ensure that London and Middlesex is welcoming and supportive of newcomers and that they feel safe and have access to all that they need to settle here. So we do this in a number of ways. One is through anti-racism initiatives and welcoming communities initiatives. Another way is by connecting service providers with newcomers and vice versa so that they know what services are available, how to access them. And a third way is we run a lot of workshops and events that provide information to newcomers, to the community, again, to service providers. So we're kind of an umbrella organization that coordinates a lot of the settlement efforts going on in the community.
Yeah, because we were talking prior to the segment, you were saying that London is growing quickly.
Yes, so there's been a lot of coverage after the latest census data came out that London is the fastest growing city in Ontario and one of the fastest growing in the country as well, actually. And approximately, I think it's around 56% of our population growth has come from overseas in the last 4 years, and around 20% of the London population is now immigrants. So because of that, we're seeing a lot more diversity in our community.
Right. And one of the programs that you've developed is the I Am London 2022.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So we've just launched that in the last week or so. It launched in 2013 originally, so this is our 9th annual campaign, and it's run by one of our sub-councils, which is the Inclusion and Civic Engagement Sub-Council. And so what I Am London is a storytelling campaign, and it seeks to share stories from successful immigrants in our community. One, to share these stories with the community so they have a better understanding of the immigrant experience, and also to share these stories with other immigrants that are interested in settling in London.
Okay. And so how are the stories shared? How do people become a part of it?
Yeah, so it's largely a social media campaign. So through September, October, and November, we share 3 stories each month. We have articles, videos, photos. A large portion of our social media space is taken up by I Am London over those months. This year we've also partnered with the public library system. So each month it's traveling. We have posters and the stories are being shared there, so you can kind of have a more in-person component to that as well. And then in December, on the 7th this year, we have a celebration event that will be held at the mosque this year, so you can come and hear from the candidates in person as well.
Oh, awesome. And so how can people learn more, become part of it, and attend?
Yeah, sure. So if you follow us on our social media, we can be found by searching the London and Middlesex Local Immigration Partnership. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And yeah, we would love to see comments, have the stories shared on our personal accounts. We're really trying to extend the reach of the campaign because, as you mentioned, in memory of the Afzal family is why we chose this theme this year, and also to join a lot of local efforts that are going on to combat Islamophobia. That's why we chose the theme of celebrating Muslim voices. So we're really trying to extend that reach as far as possible so people hear these great stories.
Because, you know, it's really through communication, through talking and sharing those stories that we can really break down those barriers of bias.
Yes.
And all of the things that have created the division that we've seen.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And that's what we're trying to accomplish with this campaign. And we've seen that approach work through this campaign in the past and just through other pieces of our work, that when you have that opportunity to really get to know someone, that's when perspectives can start to change, you know?
Right, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything that Londoners can do to support your efforts?
Yeah, so if you follow us on our social media, we share a lot of different events you can be part of. One of our main initiatives outside of I Am London is our All Are Welcome Here campaign. So we have free lawn signs, window decals, bumper stickers. They can be found if you go to 1000actsofwelcome.com. There is a list of locations you can pick those materials up at if you post them. And as part of that campaign, we also do an Acts of Welcome campaign. So it's kind of like the Acts of Kindness campaign, but something that specifically welcomes someone to the community. You can share that act and we'll post it. And yeah, just be nice to people, smile at people, say hi, and make sure that people feel welcomed here is what we're after.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, Carly.
Thank you for your time.
And we'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Favorite part of volunteering at Rogers has been picking up new tech skills like running cameras or graphics and getting to volunteer with and meet people in a super fun sports-based environment.
Monday.
Hello, I am Rachel Berdan, VP of Transformation and Community-Based Economy at Pillar Nonprofit Network, and I am this week's guest on Pollinating Purpose.
I started playing softball when I was 4 years old. I loved it because it was all about having fun with my friends. And it still is.
From little kids to adults to seniors, softball is a sport for everyone. Join us.
Welcome back. Doesn't our set look amazing? The interior designer who put this together is no stranger to our show. Kay Habib is an interior decorator and home stager, as well as the founder and CEO of Skilled Accents. She is here today to talk to us about her choice of set design, fall trends, and some projects that she is working on. Hello, Kay.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No problem. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
This is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is amazing. So I tell people all the time, I do not have an eye for this stuff. How do you do this?
I think it's like a creative process. So when I go into the space, I just, I talk to whoever is in the space. So it could be a set, it could be a homeowner, it could be a realtor who's trying to, sell their property. And then I just kind of get an idea of their vision of what they want from that space, what the goal is. And then I share my vision, and then it's kind of like a collaborative process. And also the function of the space, right? That's the most important thing. So that's what my key things are to get started. And then it's a creative process. It's just, I just put some things together, following some design rules. Sometimes I try to break the rules as well. And then the end product is always amazing.
Yes, and you're committed because the painting here, you indicated that you did this yourself.
Yes. Yeah. I wanted to really pull the colors from the chairs that we have. So, and then I was thinking about the fall colors, and I was like, okay, I have this vision of this color scheme. I'm just gonna go and paint it, instead of trying to go and find the perfect piece. So, and I love painting, so.
Nice. So what are some of the fall trends?
I think at the moment we're seeing a lot of rustic mixed with modern. So a lot of clean lines with a lot of like rustic, natural elements and textures. So like you'll see in this rug, you have a lot of that natural tones, and then we've incorporated some wood here as well. But then we also have some metal and some harder surfaces here as well. So it's a really nice mix of soft and hard, and also just keeping it very, very neutral. and then you adding, like, you know how we have the orange accent color, so then you have the freedom to add any accent color on this natural base that you've created.
Oh, see, I wouldn't have thought of that. That's why you're here.
Thank you.
Now, you are also the CEO and founder of Skilled Accents. For the viewers who don't know, can you tell us what that is?
Yes, so Skilled Accents was actually born when I was actually working within my interior design and decorating business, and I saw this need for custom decorative pillows, and I was, you know, always helping clients with that finishing touch. When the whole project is finished, then you have this finishing touches such as accessories, art, and pillows play a big role, and you always want to have those perfect pillows that pull everything together. So and again, like, I like to make things myself. So what I was doing was, if I couldn't find anything in the market, I would actually make the pillows, because I love to sew as well. So I would make a couple of pillows and take those pillows to the clients, and those were always the biggest hit, because it just brings everything together. And then I was also naturally, like, working with furniture and other drapery stores, window coverings, those stores, and I started seeing where I would go and these fabric samples would be there, but then after a while they would be discontinued. So then there would be this, you know, rotation of this fabric. And I thought about, where does all this fabric go? And then, you know, I talked to the girls at one of the stores, and they said, well, it's discontinued. We either try to give it to people. If people don't want it, we have to throw it out because we don't have space to store it. And I said, okay, would you mind giving me some? So I took some, and gorgeous fabrics. I made some pillows from it. And then you know, one of the clients actually had a sofa that matched that, that fabric. So I made that pillow for their chair, and they were just so amazed that you know, it's perfect fabric and it just looks amazing. And then I thought, okay, you know, I'm doing this, I'm making all these pillows. I was kind of running out of time, a lot of time. So I was like, okay, well, this could be something that could get bigger. And then I started collecting more fabric. I started talking to a couple of other retailers, especially drapery stores. They have bigger size fabrics and some fabric books that we can use. And so I started talking more to people, and then I started collecting more and more fabric, and I had a bunch that I could actually reuse. And then I thought, okay, what if I had some people who would be making the pillows for me? And because I'm an immigrant myself, and I have worked in the past with marginalized communities, my thought was directly to, okay, who can we help, and who would naturally have this sewing skill? Because that's another skill that's dying. I'm seeing that in the community. So, I came across this, you know, a couple of people, and Jill from Jill Worthington is a good friend, and she mentioned to, you know, maybe meet at Innovation Works, and from there I got connected to Cross Cultural Learner Center, where at that time there was a bunch of refugee women coming from Syria and Iraq, about 3.5, 4 years ago. That's where I met all these wonderful women that are working with me now, and so I employed them. I gave them sewing machines in their homes, because at that point they weren't ready to go out there and start working outside their homes. They had just come to Canada. So it was something amazing for them to have something that they already know how to do. They didn't know how to speak English, but they could sew really well. I did need to train them a little bit on certain things, and then we just, you know, went from there. And now we're at this point where we're actually expanding our business, which is very exciting.
Yeah. So the business is expanding. You're supporting immigrant women who are coming into the country, and you're creating beautiful designs and sets and staging and everything. Just, you're doing some great and wonderful things out here.
Thank you. So it's very exciting, and we now have a production space on 30 Adelaide Street North, and that's where these women are going to be working from. And if they want, they still have the freedom to work from home, because we still have provided them with the equipment there.
Right. If people want to learn more about Skilled Accents and what you do and become involved, how can they get a hold of you?
So we have a great website. It's skilledaccents.com, and we're on Facebook and Instagram, and we are on TikTok as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kay.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you being here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And we're going to be right back.
Hi, my name is Gerald. I'm a volunteer here at Rogers TV. Really happy with all the great things I've learned doing video productions for Rogers, all the great people I've met, and being part of a great community.
We want to take the time
to thank our volunteers.
Whether you're a community producer, on-air talent,
or part of the production crew,
you have made an incredible commitment
to serve our community
during the pandemic.
We couldn't have done it without you.
We couldn't have done it without you.
We couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you for showing up
and stepping up in another unusual year.
We appreciate you and all you do
for Rogers TV.
Jeff from Chillin' and Grillin' with Jeff. We're back for season 3. We've had the opportunity to see some great backyards and have some great barbecue. Join us, Chillin' and Grillin' with Jeff.
That's a wrap. To put on a show like this takes many hands. And over the last 2 years, a lot of work was done to produce this show. And even though it was virtual. Now, the person that is really responsible, he likely will never go in front of the camera, but Tim O'Neill has worked tirelessly on this show for many years and has pivoted with the restrictions and challenges that the COVID-19 pandemic brought with it. We just want to say thank you, Tim. We also have to thank our guests from the last 2 years who have been patient and pivoted with us to allow the show to go on. For our viewers, thank you. You stayed with us and have helped us to grow despite the challenges we faced. Once again, I just want to thank all of you for joining me today and ask that you visit the websites and social media challenges of our guests in an effort to support what they are doing in our community. Be well, take care, and I'll see you next week.
Call the Rogers TV Viewer Response Line. Email us or connect with us on social media.
Safe channels for motorized